seeing the name Gio Reyna was shocking. We obviously we're seeing all the stories, the interview that he did, and obviously the drama around it seems to have subsided quite a bit. But it's exciting to see him back on the team. Early reactions of just seeing a player like Gio that obviously is sort of has a little bit of controversy around him, but to welcome him back to the squad, what were your first reactions?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a few guys who are back in camp after missing a good number of them. So, it's always nice to catch up with guys and see them back in and see how their lives are off the field, how they're doing on the field, and just catching up and understanding where they're at in their season and in their in their personal lives.
Now, look, when it comes to the national team, we've had this argument on this show. Christian, not a big fan of experimenting with all these different players. He wants to see the best 11, get a lot of game time before the World Cup. Me, I'm like, hey, go crazy. Let's see who else we got out there. Maybe we could fill out the squad. You're back there on a back line. Does it make it easier for you if it was the same 10 around you all the time? Or do you not care? Hey, whoever's here to play, let's do the best we can and we'll figure it out as we go along.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the mind that you work with what you have, right? And you have to figure out a way to play with everybody. And I've been talking about adaptability for years now, and you have to be able to adapt to those around you, and they have to adapt to you and get used to each other. So you work with what you got, and you do everything you possibly can to play well and get a result, and hopefully that gives you a good place to be going into the next camp, and obviously the future of 2026 in the World Cup.
We talked a little bit on the show about your age. It's come up once or twice. You're getting up there a little bit. You feel good, though. You look good out there. You look at the national team landscape. You are definitely the starting center back on the U.S. men's national team. But a little bit in the back of your head, you got to think to yourself, like, hey, where's everybody else competing with me right now? What's happened to the development of center backs in the U.S. that there aren't a lot more people really nipping at your heels?
Yeah, I mean, listen, nothing's ever guaranteed. I'm not really worried about the development of where everybody else is and what they're doing. I learned a long time ago that there's always someone who's going to be better. There's always someone who's gunning for your position, and always somebody who can take the shirt and replace you. And for me, I've always tried to do everything I possibly can to keep that spot as long as I can. And that's kind of where I'm at. I love working with, whatever center backs come in to every camp and helping those guys in lots of different ways. A lot of different conversations, one-on-ones, conversations as a group as center backs, understanding, the strengths of their game, while also trying to help them along with certain aspects that they can improve on and push them to that next level. And that's, I can't worry about where the development has happened or lack of development has happened, but I can definitely help those, the guys who are in, help them develop currently and continue to push themselves to be better players and people.
So you got to be like, you boys need to eat a lot more fat and carbs. Slow them down. You know what I mean? Timmy, give them bad advice.
It's interesting because, sometimes you think like in the NFL, usually like some starting quarterbacks are like, they won't even talk to the backup quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like they won't really guide them because you're sort of helping them take your position and you don't really want it. But soccer is not that kind of sport. I mean, it'd be weird if you didn't want to support the people behind you.
Yeah, well, national team as well, right?
Yeah, I can't do that. That's not my personality. Right. I would never be that way. I want these guys to succeed. And listen, I can't play forever, guys. Come on, I'm there now. You know what I mean? I'm 38. I'm pushing to get to a second and final World Cup, and someone eventually is going to have to step in and I want those guys to have every success that that I've had up to now.
You don't look that age on the pitch, but what's the moment where you start to feel that age? Is it after the game where you need to ice your knees a little longer than you used to?
You know what? I don't even ice after games. It's worked for me up to this point. So I think it's more the second or third day. You start to need a third-ish day recovery instead of a first or second day recovery. And that's when you really start to feel it. But I've said all along is as long as I feel good going into match day -2, match day -1, and match day, I'm going to continue to push on and keep going.
I love that. All right. There's obviously big friendlies coming up this window, and there's also two huge games, Portugal and Belgium, in March. When you think about how it's progressing, there's some positive results, some negative results, especially in the friendlies. What are you sort of expecting, especially in those two games in Portugal and Belgium? Like, what do you want to see out of the rest of your guys?
No, listen, I think those games are obviously, all these games are now World Cup tune-ups. I don't think anybody can frame them any differently. All these games are World Cup level opponents, and games that we want to be performing well in. You're not always going to get the result you want, but as long as the performances and the ideas and the everybody's understanding and grasping what is being asked of the group, then we're going to be moving in the right direction. We want to win as many games as possible. These are competitive games, whether they're labeled as friendlies or not, and so we have to treat them as such. We have to treat them as competitive, and those are going to be the tune-up games going into 2026 World Cup.
We have this debate all the time, especially with friendlies. I tell Alexis, friendlies are important. They matter. Maybe the result in itself.
The result, I think, doesn't matter. It's about whatever the coach agenda gives you. If they say, Tim, I want to see you do blank, blank, blank. Midfielder, you need to show me blank, blank, blank. That's more important than the final score.
But if you lose that game 5-0 and you tried a bunch of stuff, that still kind of hurts in some way. Where do you land on this?
Definitively answer this question.
We spoke into that. We just had Nick Raimondo on. We asked him the same exact thing, and he's sort of in the middle. But where are you? Especially
he was more on my side, but okay. Coach Ream, what do you think?
Yeah. No, listen. Results are important because it's like you said. It's no different than saying, okay, if you lose a bunch of games in a row at 1-0, you're all of a sudden your momentum is it can snowball, right? You have no momentum and you feel like everything's on top of you and going backwards. The same way in the opposite. If you're winning games, it builds that momentum. It builds that good feeling. But at the end of the day, you have to work on the things that are being coached. You have to work on the things that the staff want you to improve on, or maybe tactical tweaks or ideas that are thrown at you. So it's a balancing act for sure. You don't want to lose games, but you also want to do the things that are going to get you into the position of being on the World Cup team. Because at the end of the day, that's where we all are. You have to treat these games as the most important, because you can realistically make or break your opportunity and your chance to go and play at a World Cup.
Dude,
we're both right, but I'm more right.
I'm just saying, if we was 11 behind the ball, 1-0 win on a gross set piece, and we win 5-6 in a row, I'm like, yo, the USMNT we're on a rocket ship to the moon, bro.
Old Brexit ball Polanco. Tim, look, I want to talk about you joining the ad council. I think this is really cool. I have one last question, though, about the national team. Mauricio Pochettino is a manager that when we found out he was going to be the men's national team coach, like a lot of Americans, we were super excited just because of the pedigree that brings. You've been a part of the men's national team for a hot minute. What new? You've also had some great managers in your career. What's one new thing he's taught you about the game, or that you think has made you a better player?
I think the thing he's really drilled in is being unpredictable, but the fight that you actually show. Listen, I can't sit here and say, okay, you're going to look at me on the field and you're going to see passion and yelling and getting into scraps and getting into the middle of a scrum, and that's not really me. But I've learned over the course of the past year working with them how important that is to be connected. Because when you do kind of get in those scrums, you're connected to your teammates. You feel what they're feeling. You're protecting them, and that creates this bond and this connection within the group and within the team that you feel like, okay, we can do anything as long as we're doing it together. And as long as we're doing it together, we can absolutely achieve what we want to achieve. And I think that has been something that has really caught my eye over the past year.
Okay,
get more hype.
I love it.
Yeah, don't throw an elbow, but get out there and go crazy.
And
yep.
One of the things that I want to talk about Love Your Mind and the playbook. And I want to, in the context of, especially with we talk about USMNT all the time, and the last couple of years, definitely in the last 10 years, social media and criticism, and you see it, and it's in your face a lot more than I think previous USMNT players. So it's almost a difficult thing where you can't even necessarily go to former players of the national team and be like, how'd you deal with this? I'm like, oh, everybody was on MySpace. Nobody was really yelling at me.
You can't. Don't text anyone with a podcast.
but okay, talk about that, and then also talk about obviously the Love Your Mind and the whole program and mental health and in general.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the social media I think has put such a microscope on everybody, and it can take a toll, and I've been. I mean, you referenced it at the top. I've been there where there wasn't social media, and now here we are with it. It just seems like you can't get away from it. And with the ad console, I mean, it's just about it's a simple gesture. It's a heart, and then you point to your mind, and it's all about taking care of your mind, because when it's important as athletes that we're able to speak about these things, because that is. It's been taboo for so long, and so many people look up to athletes and think, oh, they're robots, they're invincible, they can do whatever they like, they can beat anything, and it really isn't the case. We all go through our struggles just like everybody else, and there are things that we have figured out, in our own lives, in our own personal lives, that help us to combat that, the tough times that, oh man, I feel tired today, or this is really not working for me. And it's just all about taking care of your mind, because if your mind's in a great place, you really do feel like you can do anything and achieve whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can go to loveyourmindtoday.org. And yeah, even as I'm like looking through a lot of the like the program that I suggested, I'm like, this can help me in my life. I could use just to get up and do a podcast. Sometimes I could use some support.
No, honestly, it's so good, because it literally, you can tailor it to whatever works for you, right? What makes you happy? I mean, for me, I love going outside and taking my dogs for a walk. That kind of helps me reset. I love to go fishing, connect to the outdoors. And then even simpler, you look at, okay, well, you're an adult, you have dogs, you can go fish. Well, I love to do Lego. Lego, I can sit down and it puts my mind in a place that,
love it.
Yeah, it just puts my mind in a place where I'm just focused on a process, and not having to overthink everything that's going on around me. And yeah, it's great. I mean, we've got the Love Your Mind playbook, loveyourmindplaybook.org, coming out November 19th, and it just gives a lot of useful tips, and hopefully it helps a lot of people, young and old, to take care of their mind, and realize that's the most important thing.
To hear it from someone like you, who's so competitive and such a professional player and always looks like you've got everything under control, is going to change a lot of people's lives. And so I want to personally thank you for that, Tim Ream.
Also fellow nerd Tim Ream, let's go, bro.
Lego over there.
My Lego king.
Yeah. Not me. I just eat cured meats. That's what makes me feel better too. But we all have our own things.
We all,
That's it. And that's the point. Everybody has their own thing.
We all got loveyourmindplaybook.org. Absolutely awesome things that you're doing. Thank you to the Ad Council. Thank you for joining that as well. And thank you for joining us here on the Cooligans.
You're always welcome on the show, brother. Tim, we appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Anytime, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.